Hello everyone, this is Charanya Nangamal from the Department of IT, Fatima College. Here we are going to see about the concept of JavaScript in web technology. So what are all the learning objectives we are going to see here? First one, introduction and need for a scripting language and what is the basic structure of the scripting and what are all the language elements and what are the objects of JavaScript and some other objects and what is meant by arrays. So the first one is introduction. What is JavaScript? So it is designed to add interactivity to the HTML pages. So generally JavaScript is a scripting language and it is an interpreted language and which means it executes without any preliminary compilation. And usually and it's embedded directly into the HTML pages. And Java and JavaScript are entirely different. And what is the need for the scripting language? JavaScript gives HTML designers a programming tool. That is, it gives the simple syntax to design the HTML pages. And it can put the dynamic text into the HTML page and it's used to react based on the events. Using the JavaScript, we can read and write the HTML elements and it is possible to validate the data of HTML by using the JavaScript. And this JavaScript can be used to detect the visitor's browsers and it can be used to create some cookies also, which means to store and retrieve the informations on the visitor's page. And what is the basic structure of a scripting? So each and every scripting must have a tag called script inside the HTML page. So this is the syntax. Script type equal to text slash JavaScript and a simple statement of output statement by using inside the JavaScript and we close the tag by using the slash in front of the script. The JavaScript can be inserted within the head, the body or use external file also by using the script tag. By specifying a file of a JavaScript code, it can and also it expressions as a value of an HTML attribute. And this is the basic structure of the scripting. So HTML body and script type by closing the script body section as well as HTML section. So this is the basic structure of a scripting inside the HTML page. And the next one is what are all the language elements of the JavaScript? First one is identifiers, expression, JavaScript keywords, operators, statements and functions. What is meant by identifier? An identifier is a unique term that JavaScript uses to identify a variable or a method or an object. This identifier takes the two forms. One is literals and another one is variable. Literals means it have the fixed value and variables means it can have different values during the execution. And identifiers have several types of supported by JavaScript. Some of them are integers, floating point, string value, boolean value, etc. And next one is expression. What is meant by expression? An expression is any valid set of literals or variables or operators and expressions that evaluates to a single value and the value can maybe a number or it may be a string or any logical value. This JavaScript have the following types of expression. That is, first one is arithmetic expression and string expressions which have the character string and logical which evaluates either true or false values. And next one is keywords. This JavaScript have a specified set of keywords which cannot be used as a variables, which means the keywords cannot be used as a variable. And the next one is operators. So we know what is meant by operator. It is a command which performs some operations on variables or literals to produce the result. And we have the different set of operators. Assignment operators, we have different assignment operators and for first one is addition, to add the two operands, subtractions, subtract and multiplication, division and modulus. Next one is mathematical operators as plus, minus, multiplication and division. Comparison operators are less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to and not equal to. And some logical operators are logical and, which returns true only if the both operands are true, and logical are, it returns true even if one of the condition is true, and not is used to negate the expression. And we have some string operators which is used, the comparison operators can be used with a string for concatenation. And next language elements are set of statements. First statements is to be considered as a conditional statement, that is if else. So this is the syntax for the if else. If condition, set of statements, else set of statement 2, which means here if the condition is true, then the statements 1 will be executed, otherwise statement 2 will be executed, which is inside the else part. And the looping statements are there. First one is the for loop and while loop and do while loop. The syntax for the for loop is for initial expression, condition, increment expression statements. So here in the for loop we have a certain condition. If the condition is true with the basic initial expression, the statements inside the for loop is executed. Once the statement executed, by incrementing the expression, again the for loop is continuing. Until that the condition become false, the for loop will be executed. Next one is while loop. Here while loop, inside the condition we have give some condition. Until the condition become false, the statements inside the while loop will execute. Next one is do while. Here what is the difference between while and do while is, inside the do, the statements inside the do will execute at least one time before checking the condition. When if the condition become false, it will exit the loop. So these are the looping statements in JavaScript. And the next one is functions. In a JavaScript, a function is a kind of mini program which consists of one or more statements. For example, here is the syntax function name, and within the function we have certain set of statements to execute inside the function, and these functions are used with same operations. It has to be performed many times within a program. And the next one is objects of JavaScript. So we have a document object model. So with the JavaScript, we can restructure the entire HTML document by adding, removing, changing or reordering the items on the page. It can be possible through the document object model. When you load a document into our web browser, it creates a number of JavaScript objects. And this object exists in a hierarchy that reflects the structure of the HTML page. So here is the structure of the document object model. So window, and within the window we have a frame, document, location, and likewise we have it's an entire structure. Then let us see by one. So first one is the window object. The window object represents an open window in a browser. If the document contains frame, the browser creates one window object for the HTML document and one additional window object for each frame. So each object must have some certain properties. So for the window object, we have the properties of status, which displays the content of the status bar, and location, it displays the location and the URL of the document which is currently loading into the window, and length, it returns the number of elements in the current window. So here are some of the examples. Window.status equal to hi. Alert, which displays a message as what is the current location of the and for the length, it displays the number of element in the current as a alert message. And what are all the Windows properties? we have one property as a parent. It returns the parent window of a current window. And some another methods of the window objects are alert method, confirm method, prompt, open and close. Alert is used to display an alert message box with an OK button. Confirm is used to display a dialog box with a message and an OK and cancel button. Prompt is a dialog box that prompts the visitors for the input. It used to get the input from the user. And open, it opens a new browser window. Close method is used to close the current window. And this window object have two events. One is on load and another one is on unload. So what is meant by event is it has used to take a certain action. On load, what is the action to be taken? And similarly on unload, what is the action to be taken? On load means it message sent each time a document is loaded into a window, and it's a vice versa of on unload. Next one is document object. So the document object, when an HTML document is loaded into a web browser, it becomes a document object. The document object is the root node of the HTML document. It has some certain properties like BG color, that is the background color. FG color is for the text color. Link color is used for unvisited links. A link color is used for the active link, and V link is used for the visited link. And the title property is used to display the title of the document, and the forms it is an array that containing all the forms. And it has a method as a write method, which allows a string of a text to be written inside the document. And the next one is form object. When a form is created in an HTML document, we use the tag called form. And a form object is created automatically with the properties, method and event that related to the forms. What are all the properties are? Name, which displays the name of the form as defined in the HTML document, and method is used to submit the information in the form, and there are two methods used for this form object. One is get method and another one is post method. And what is the action is the action to be taken when a form is submitted. It specifies either URL or it form as should be a sent. Next one, properties of the form objects. Length property display the number of elements in the form, and we have two methods. One is submit the form data to the destination specified in the action attribute, and on submit it displays the message sent each time a form is submitted. Next one is text boxes and text areas. Each element within a form is an object in its own right. What are all the properties of the text boxes are? Name, it displays the name of the text box, and value, and it displays the text to be typed inside the text box. And what are all the events of the text box are? On focus, on blur. On focus is for the event signal generated when a user click inside the text box. And on blur, this event is activated a signal generated when a user click outside the text box. Next one is buttons, radio buttons and checkboxes. So these are all have the common properties as name, value, and the checked is used for with the radio button and the checkbox, which indicates whether the box is selected or not. And what are all the methods we are used for this is focus method, which gives the button focus that will be activated if any the return key is pressed. And blur method is used to remove the focus, and the click is used to simulate the effect of the clicking button. And events of this button, radio buttons and checkboxes are on click, and it sends the signal when the button is clicked. On focus, it sends the signals when the button receives the focus, and on blur, it sends the signals when the button loses the focus. And select object, the selected box behave in a very similar fashions to the radio button, And selected index, it returns an index indicating which one from a group of options can be selected by the user. And these are some of the other objects. First one is mathematical objects with the default values to display, that is minimum, power, round, sine, square root and tan of the given x and y values. And these are some of the string object. We have character at, character code at, contact, that is concatenation, and from character code, it is used to convert the list of Unicode values into the string values. Index of, last index of, slice, split, substring, superstring, to lowercase to uppercase, value of, etc. So these are some other string objects. And these are some date objects. To get the current date, to get the current value of the full year, or to get the minute, or to get a month, seconds, time, and time zone, date, or for all these functions we use these date objects. And the last one is arrays. So we all know what is meant by array. An array is a special variable which can hold more than one value at a time. So here is the syntax to declare an array, where my array equal to new array with an array values, or where my array equal to, directly we can give the values. An empty array can be declared as where my array equal to new array of 5. Here 5 is the size of the array of my array. Thank you for watching.